Every EV driver encountered this scenario.
This charger doesn't work.
What if I tell you can help the community improve the charging network and get something out of it? Encharge! Share your experiences and impressions at the charging station via Encharge. Give direct feedback, receive kilometers and stars, collect kilometers and exchange them for charging credits. Use the link in the description and get 20 kilometers for free.
Hello everyone, today we're gonna take a look at the charging curve of the Cupra Tavascan VZ. When I charged the car at Ionity, I did my range test and then afterwards the charging test. I preheated the battery to 100% best temperature to do fast charging. And it showed me in the car I can charge with 122 kilowatt, and I thought that's a bit low, that's weird. And then when it charged I saw 129 and I was like, that's also not amazing. But then I analyzed the data, I looked at the charging screen through the whole thing and then compare it to other car, and it's not as bad as I thought. But we have to look at it. It's a different charging curve than I thought, because the VZ is the all-wheel drive powerful version, so it's similar to the ID.4 GTX or the Skoda Enyaq RS 85, and I thought it would have the same charging curve as the ID.4 GTX, for example, but it doesn't. It has a different one, and we're gonna look at it. Look at the screen that I filmed of Ionity. I charged from 6 to 90%. And then we're going to look at the curve, compare it to other cars, and then also see the kilowatt hours charged into the battery and the range as well. And there we go, 6%, it goes up to 127 kilowatt, but then goes up more to, I didn't see that, 137, I think at one point there was even 138, there it is. So it is around that thing, but it never goes above the 138 kilowatt. Voltage, only 370 volt at 35%. And now it steadily already goes down, and we are at 100 kilowatt at around 73-74%, and it's not horrible. But if you need a lot of kilowatt hours in there in short time, let's say you only need to charge to 50%, then it's not that amazing. And we're gonna see it's almost the same charging curve as a different car where they got the curve and that's where they also got the battery. Here we have it, 73-74% under 100 kilowatt. Now it goes down faster to 80%, we only have 67 kilowatt, and then idiot me, I put on the battery care mode in the car and it put the charge limit to 80% right away, so I continued. It still went down, you can see, from 40 to 31 kilowatt, 30 kilowatt, it's gonna stay at that level till 90%. But yes, it's okay. Here we have the whole curve, and as you can see, it goes up, down a few times, here even down and then up again, and then to around 65-67%, and then it goes down a bit more, and then fast, and then stays at the 30 kilowatt. Again, not horrible, but also not amazing. Then let's compare it to other cars. In here I have the Cupra Tavascan in blue, I have the ID.4 Pro, the new version with the new motor and everything, in red, the ID.4 GTX, where I thought it would be the same charging curve, but it isn't, in yellow, and in green I have the ID.7 Pro, my car. So they all have the same battery, 77 kilowatt hours when it comes to energy, but different chemistry. And as you can see, blue and red are very close together, so the Cupra Tavascan has the same charging curve as the Volkswagen ID.4 Pro, not the GTX, which I thought it would be. GTX is way higher here in the beginning, then gets under till 80%. So if you charge to 80%, it's almost the same. But if you want to charge to only 50%, GTX charging curve is way better. My ID.7 is above all of them till around 55%, then it's more similar to the GTX, but it's under the ID4 Pro and the Cupra Tavascan. The times 10 to 80% are also interesting. My ID7 takes around 25.5 minutes. The ID4 Pro, when I measured it, was 29 minutes. The ID4 GTX as well. The Cupra Born 28 minutes. And this is weird because we're going to see the kilowatt hours charged into the battery as well. Kilowatt hours charged into the battery, and this is with charging loss. So what the charger showed, not was what was really going into the battery. And again, in blue we have the Cupra Tavascan VZ, in green ID4 Pro, in yellow ID4 GTX, and red is my ID7 Pro. And in the beginning, ID4 Pro and Tavascan are the same, and then at around 14-15 minutes the Cupra is under the ID4 and it stays that way. I don't know why that is. GTX is above those two, and they are the same at around 30 minutes, and my ID7 is above all of them. Again, they meet at around 30 minutes. What is interesting, when I look after 30 minutes, the Cupra has charged 59.8 kilowatt hours. The other three are at 62 kilowatt hours. So over 2 kilowatt hours more after 30 minutes. Huh. And then the range charged into the battery, again with charging loss. I took the kilowatt hours charged and I take the average consumption at 130 kilometers an hour range test. I tested my ID7 at perfect conditions with 174 watt hours per kilometer consumption. The ID4, all the others were not tested in perfect conditions. I think that the ID4 GTX and the Cupra Tavascan VZ will have very, very similar consumption. They have the same motor, same battery, same configuration. It's just a tiny bit different of a form. I don't know how much difference there is. Until I can test both cars at the same time, I don't know. I know that the ID4 Pro has lower consumption just for not being all-wheel drive, just because the front motor is not has not been the weight, and also that it's turning. Even though you don't put any motor in there, you have some loss. I take the ID4 consumption at around 205 watt hours per kilometer, and the ID4 GTX and the Cupra Tavascan at 220, because it's 5 to 7% higher consumption. And when I then look at the range, I see, because of the kilowatt hours that were already less, the Cupra Tavascan is on the bottom, because again, same consumption as the ID4 Pro, ID4 GTX, but has the charging curve of the ID4 Pro. So it has higher consumption, but the slower charging curve. So it's on the bottom. The ID4 Pro is the next. The ID4 GTX is better, but they meet at around 20 minutes, and the ID7 Pro, because of its lower consumption, and this is because not all-wheel drive, and of course better drag coefficient, it is above all of them. I mean, you can see that after 20 minutes I have 191 kilometers charged in the Cupra, 211 in the ID4 GTX, 214 in the ID4 Pro. That is 23 kilometers more, and the ID7 is then at 285 kilometers. That's 90 kilometers more in 20 minutes. But that is because of the low consumption and amazing charging curve. So this is just awesome. So I'm a bit confused that the all-wheel drive most powerful Tavascan gets the charging curve of the ID4 Pro. I thought Volkswagen did that with the ID4 Pro and the GTX, that the other one has higher consumption, so let's give it a higher charging curve at the beginning, because get a lot of energy in there over time, and the other one, because at lower consumption, give them the other curve. I thought that was the reasoning behind it, and the Cupra is the opposite. It has higher consumption because it's all-wheel drive, but it gets the slower but steadier charging curve when you have to charge. And when you charge to 80%, again, it's not a lot of difference. So if you are someone who, I'm just gonna drive, charge to 80%, I'm gonna eat, relax, and then go on, then it's totally fine. But if you wanna go fast to your destination, and the next charger is only 150 kilometers away and you only need to charge to 50%, then a high peak on the bottom is of course way better. You get a lot of energy, a lot of range into the battery and can go on. So it all depends what your driving style for long distance is. If you want to follow me on Instagram, BatteryLife1, and if you want to support the channel, there's a Patreon link in the description below. And here on YouTube, there's also channel membership. And if you want to know what's happening behind the scenes, I have a third YouTube channel, Behind the Battery. But that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day and take care. Bye.